as with most things in liberalism, the ideas never have much intellectual undergirding to them. They mainly rely on the tactic of saturating the information space with vapid propaganda and hope there's enough mindless drones out there that will absorb the message without question, and then demonize the rest. And beyond that, they really don't have good reasons to believe in their ideas. It's all extremely shallow intellectual waters. But what happens when raising awareness with propaganda is their only tactic? What happens when 50 years goes by and everyone is aware and has already made up their minds? Well, then they're in trouble, because the only thing they have is step one: raise awareness, raise awareness, raise awareness. If society becomes more accepting of homosexuality, it's because people are more aware of it, more familiar with it, or so the logic goes. If society becomes more unaccepting of homosexuality, well, clearly it's because not enough awareness has been raised. They did the same thing with COVID and masking. If cases go down, it's because we masked up. If cases go up, well, then clearly we need to mask even more. Let's think of it as a chess game. The first step is to move out one of your pawns. And while that's a great first step, it's not a long-term winning strategy. As time goes on and more pieces become in play, the only move of moving that one pawn forward becomes a losing strategy. With regards to the literal sacrament of abortion, the only move they really have is just moving that one pawn one square up. It's just that one move. Let me show you an article that reinforces my point here. Okay, so just some background. This article came out right when the opinion was leaked a month ago or however long ago. So this was like a last-ditch effort. 7 TikTok dances you can do to save Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court decision is a draft. There's still time to save Roe v. Wade through the awareness-spreading power of dance. The leak that appears to show the Supreme Court ready to overthrow Roe v. Wade has been confirmed to be real, and the terrible notion that Voldemort has killed Harry Potter and sentenced all of Gryffindor and Hufflepuff to evangelical force-breeding gulag is now setting in for women across the globe. I love how the worst things they can imagine are always like just fictional. It's just always, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel. It's always just cartoons. But it's important to understand that it's a leak of a draft. It was leaked to us so we could make a change before it's actually passed into law. This means organizing. It means fighting Voldemort with every available weapon. And it means raising awareness to women on TikTok who haven't yet heard the news. Well, how do you do that? By dancing, of course. Here's 7 dances you can do on TikTok to raise awareness and save Roe v. Wade. The Handmaid's Dance. Originally developed for the heartbeat bill in Texas, the Handmaid's Dance has now become synonymous with the Roe v. Wade struggle. It's dedicated to our oppressors in light of the recent refusal by the Supreme Court to block the heartbeat bill in Texas, effectively banning almost all access to safe abortions for Texan women and girls. The dance is, of course, a direct reference to Margaret Atwood's dystopian novel The Handmaid's Tale, which has become disturbingly relevant. In the book, America becomes Gilead, a theocratic dictatorship where women are forced into sexual servitude and only exist to breed women for rich couples. If we allow the Supreme Court ruling to go through, that's our future. So let's start dancing like it isn't. Blood-ass Yes, it's the wet-ass dance. Wet from the remains of a home-cooked abortion dripping out after an encounter with a coat hanger. A coat hanger in the back alley is what most of us will be forced to resort to in a short time if we allow the Supreme Court to pass this garbage. Abortion fatality will go from basically 0 to near medieval levels. Can't touch this, body. This is a fight for bodily autonomy and the right to not become a forced breeding vessel. It's no wonder You Can't Touch This has become our anthem song, and moves to go with it are emerging as symbols of our struggle. While the pro-choice struggle was not MC Hammer's original intention, the song was released in the 90s, a decade when evangelicals powered by fake satanic panic tried to censor and oppress Americans. Whew, that is a stretch. The gender reveal. Now, this one's gross. This is more of a format than a dance, but we're not Puritans around here. Unlike our illegally packed Supreme Court. Simply show your followers your pregnancy and then promise a big gender reveal. Then have your safe and legal abortion and reveal it's aborted. Haha, you get it? Because they murdered him. The termination tango. This is a dance for those of us who have had to make the difficult decision to terminate a pregnancy. It's also for those of us who will now be forced into that position by this overturning of Roe v. Wade. The termination tango is about grief, loss, and resilience. It's about how we keep dancing even when the world is trying to grind us down by turning us into forced breeding vessels. My God. Well, anyways, there's their dances, okay? Then, when the decision came out, they posted this. Post Roe v. Wade decision update. This is a somber moment for us. We acknowledge that TikTok dances may not have been the greatest tactic to get the SCOTUS draft rejected, but please understand that this was part of a greater awareness campaign. Please also stop attacking us and our writers online. We are all our own worst critics after all. It is now time to snuff that critic out and start the healing process. Self-care in the post-Roe v. Wade apocalypse. 7 top tips. Imagine the hubris required to think that raising awareness of their position is all that's needed to change someone's mind, or in this case, change the minds of the Supreme Court justices through dancing on TikTok. Imagine thinking that while the queen is moving in on your king, the best strategy would just be to move a random pawn forward, like you did at the start. The overturning of Roe reaffirms Academics Agent's theory that it's organized minority groups that actually facilitate change in society, because it allows for other plays to be made than the standard one. The pro-life movement in America has actually been organized and strong in the face of almost insurmountable odds. I certainly never thought Roe would be overturned in my lifetime. When you look at all the protests happening across the nation in opposition to the ruling, it really does look unorganized and ineffectual, like they're just on that first step. They absolutely look like they're lost and have no idea how to fix what just happened to them. Do something was trending on Twitter after the decision. It's the perfect frame to put on the end of this 50-year war between the left and the right on abortion. When your only strategy is just to raise awareness and assume that it's enough to control all the power, you're going to be mind blown when you lose. And of course, their first instinct is to go back out and raise more awareness. In my city, they organized over the weekend at a park downtown and marched a few blocks to the city courthouse, which was closed because it's the weekend. So that didn't really do anything. Then they left and met up with another group protesting in the parking lot of a random grocery store. That's what they think they need to be doing. The problem with this approach is that for the liberal, the world started yesterday on every issue. As I laid out in my 3 levels of consciousness video, the brainwashed normie is always trying to educate the ignorant level of society. It's what they live for, relaying what they consider to be special knowledge of the one true opinion to the ignorant, which they consider to be everyone that they come in contact with. But people know what Roe v. Wade is. And the fight has been on for a lot longer than just yesterday or last week. There's no need to raise awareness anymore. Their mistake in how they promote every liberal cause has been to saturate the information space with propaganda and then reach a saturation point and hope the dissenters just die off or something. Chris Evans said this about gay rights. There's always going to be people who are afraid and unaware. See, there it is. And trying to hold on to what was before. But those people die off like dinosaurs. Well, what happens when we don't die off? What happens when we get organized and beat their agenda back in the same court that 12 seconds ago had so much meaning and authority to them? It leaves them feeling helpless, and they're forced to go back to square one and scream, "Do something," into the ether. That was their plan, but it failed. This is why the White House came out and said it really didn't have a plan to fight this ruling. Everyone is at a loss, because checkmate is impossible to get out of when all you have is just that one move. This is why they're scared of Clarence Thomas talking of going through and looking at those old decisions that are so sacred to them, because their one move can't account for the population reaching a saturation point and the leftovers going to serious war with them. They need everyone to believe in the big lie, to lie to themselves and others on a daily basis. The reason I'm saying all this is because the left's ideas are intellectually bankrupt, and they have to rely on subversive means to achieve power through amassing an army of retards rather than having support from a well-informed population, because there is no way to be a leftist drone and be informed at the same time. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this video and type of content I'm making, consider giving this video a like or maybe subscribing. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.